Today on the Diz List, we count down the top 5 reasons not to park hop at Walt Disney World.
Welcome to the Diz List, the podcast that lists everything in Walt Disney World. I'm Nick.
And I'm Robin. Today we're going to count down the top 5 reasons not to park hop at Walt Disney World.
Last week, we did reasons why you should, which,
Yes.
to be fair, I am usually team park hop when I can.
And I am usually team not park hop when I can. But I do both.
So,
And I have.
What I would say is this. Both of these work, and we're giving you reasons not to. We are not giving you reasons today that are, this is why you should never do it. This is, if this is you, maybe you want to not do it, right? I mean, that's kind of like, like if you fall into this category, if your trip is meant for this time, maybe you should not do it.
And you and I are in both camps.
Yeah.
You know, I lean this way to not, and mainly just, for financial reasons, and it's fine. And you tend to lean this way because, and correct me if I'm wrong, you enjoy the flexibility.
I enjoy the flexibility, and also one of the things on our list is going to kind of explain this too. But basically, based on where I typically am staying, it makes more sense.
Okay.
And it's just we'll discuss. But before we get there, this week there was some crazy weather in the United States.
Yeah.
And the weather led to some people posting some AI-generated pictures.
I have a story. Continue.
Of snow in Disney.
Yeah.
So this week, this is just our little pitch because we always have to plug our Patreon.
Yep.
This week on Patreon, we record an episode for the top 5 rides that would be better in the snow. And accompanying them are going to be pictures that Rob has messed with in Photoshop using the AI generator to put rides, I won't say which rides, but put some rides in the dead of winter.
Right. Which we plan on sharing.
Oh, we're going to share them.
Yeah.
But my point is, if you see these and you're like, what are they what is going on? Head over to patreon.com. The list will be there. The episode will be up for our patrons. You can individually purchase episodes. I've got that title on, but it's not that much you can catch up, binge us for a month, and then ditch us, I guess, if you really wanted to.
Yeah.
But patreon.com/DizListPod. I'm telling you, Rob showed me the pictures when I got here.
They're funny.
All I can say is, I'll spoil one of them.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Test track in the snow is kind of like when I have to drive here, like after we've gotten snow, like there's the wind going by, that one spot. So it's like black ice on test track would be something interesting.
Yes, it would.
It'd be a new part of that road test.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to plug that because I thought it was kind of funny. And it was something interesting that happened in Disney this week with all the weather that was beyond crazy for Orlando.
So when the hurricane hit recently, I saw a couple pictures from Disney that had Main Street USA flooded.
Yep.
And looked quick, and I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah, it was
didn't look at it thinking, hey, somebody messed with this with AI, which is what I did, but I'm very transparent about it. We are not trying to fool anybody when we post it. We're going to be very clear about that. So I saw these pictures. This was August, I think, was the
the latest
or
one.
September, the big one.
Yeah.
And so I texted our friends from Ear Scouts, and they were kind of laughing at me, well deserved, because I thought it was real, and they said, no, those are AI generated. So this week, I did see some pictures of Florida with snow. As far as I know, some of them were real, but they were from northern Florida.
Yeah, the Panhandle.
Those were real.
Yes.
Okay. But then there's some others that I've decided I go straight to my Orlando friends or family, but I decided to go to Ear Scouts again and say, hey, any snow? They said no, it's cold, but no snow yet. So I mean, I think yet is the best way to end that, because who knows? My aunt said my aunt's lived there most of her life, and she said it's wow, 1 or 2 times ever have they experienced snow. So it's very, very rare in Orlando.
I have a friend who lives in Tampa area.
Mm-hmm.
And he posted a picture. He's from the Adirondacks where I grew up. He was my next door neighbor for a long time, large part of my childhood. And he posted a picture. He's in Tampa, and it's of his dash, and it's like shows the road. And I was like, what is he? Because he's always showing off his Tesla. He loves his Tesla, and he's
Sure.
like, oh look, it's auto driving, whatever. I thought he was showing me that. Thought that's what it was showing. Then I looked closer because his caption didn't match, and it was like 38. I'm like, what the heck?
Wow.
He's like, I checked the weather this morning. It was the same temperature here as it was in my hometown.
Weird.
And I looked, and it was where we grew up. It was the same temperature.
I mean, that can happen in the summer for sure, but
Yeah.
hardly ever in these months.
No, especially where we are, where we were. It's way up there.
Yeah, I've seen Orlando at 86 and New York State at 86 before.
Yes.
But
It's a different
yeah,
86.
Correct. Yeah, comes with that
Yeah.
that water weight, we'll call it.
Yeah. So why don't we go ahead and jump right in here? You've got you wanted to start this off with something that I think is very true.
Yeah.
About why you might not want to park hop.
So there's a couple pieces to this one, and I had them as different items, but then after we discussed the beginning of the show, we decided let's make this all part of one thing, which I completely agree with. Yeah. So at number 5, I have it complicates your day. It's less to worry about during your day, and the part 2 to it, and we'll discuss here, is you can't explore each park in depth, and you can't really see those details and take your time, which I know you and I love to do.
Right. It sounds oxymoronic or contradictory when you say it complicates your day, and then you say, but you want to get into the more than just the basic stuff. That sounds like that is more complicated, but it's not if you're in the same park.
No, and I'm usually the guy who, and this is why I fall into this camp, where we'll plan our entire day just in that one place, and we'll see this detail and this deal, and hey, we haven't done this before in this park, and we've never done this, or we've never eaten here, and we do all those different things. And so for me, I really enjoy exploring each park in depth, and a good park for that, which this park has kind of sort of recently become a half-day park, is Animal Kingdom. I love going to Animal Kingdom, and when I have most of those heavy hitters checked off my list, hey, let's go to the Gorilla Falls Trail, and let's take our time, let's look at the animals, and I guess that's going to depend, too, on weather. If it's pouring rain, you're probably not going to want to do that, or if it's, 113 degrees, you're probably not going to want to do that either. And by 113, yes, I'm exaggerating, but sometimes the real feel is, close to that.
You're not that far off. Yeah. I mean, it's not all that hyperbolic. So what I would say is if you're park hopping and you're planning to park hop ahead of time. So just having a park hopper doesn't mean you're necessarily going to park hop. But if you're park hopping that day and you know you're park hopping that day, you're probably also not doing the animation experience. You're probably not doing Rafiki's Planet Watch at all. Mm-hmm. You're likely not doing any kind of those behind the scenes tours.
I was just going to say that
I've done.
Right. You wouldn't be able to.
You just do. Yeah, you wouldn't have the time. And while Animal Kingdom is a half day, now I'm firmly in belief that it is a half day park
because of how much is going to be closed and
yeah.
But they need it.
And I've spent 2 days. I've advocated it as a 2-day park, a day for rides and attractions, and a day for trails. Mm-hmm. I don't know how you could even advocate it for a full day at this point. But what about other there's so much to see at Epcot. Like that park, you can spend one whole day open to close in World Showcase. And I know that they're not open in World Showcase.
Yeah.
But France has the boulangerie, patisserie. Whatever. They have their bakery open. Okay. They've got there's still things to see. You can go back into the garden. I know everybody's gonna laugh at me for saying it, but go back in the garden in the UK. You can walk through and look at like the koi ponds and stuff like that. You can do those
all
things.
Of the I call them the travel movies. Stay
you can't
and watch
do that.
those.
You can't do that that early. Not an opening.
Okay.
Because the World Showcase doesn't technically open till.
Now,
the only thing that does is Frozen.
Isn't in France they do the Impressions du France early. Am I right?
Yeah, you're not wrong.
And then after
it
that,
turns into that horrible
this is another thing like last week where they change it so much. I'm not sure what the current version is. So last I knew, they did. We'll call it the travel video, Impressions du France. They do early,
like
and then
2 shows. I don't
the
know
remainder of the day they do
Beauty and the Beast sing along.
I hate that thing.
Yeah.
So then they do that Beauty and the Beast sing along. I don't love it. If you do, I'm sorry. I have to be honest on this podcast.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of it.
No, I know.
But I do love the travel video. It's really cool. I've been to France twice, so I like, kind of saying, oh, I remember that, or I remember that, and the music is incredible.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's.
But like looking in those shops and taking your time. If you're planning to park hop, you can't do that.
Yeah.
And so I don't disagree with you here that it does make it difficult to go in depth, and it can complicate your day.
Right.
So
now our number 4, I didn't even think of this until you brought it up, and you were exactly right. And I'm going to let you elaborate a little bit more on it, because I'm sure you have some ideas. And it's number 4 is, I'll hand it to you.
Yeah, knowing your group and just understanding. You may not want to do this if you have young kids, or may not want to park hop. The reality is park hopping comes with an understanding that if you're going to park hop, your day is going to be longer. Mm-hmm. You are planning, proactively planning by purchasing this, that you're going to do multiple parks a day.
Yeah.
That's tough to do when you have a family that has young kids. Now, once they get into that teenage year or the tweens, then you're starting to think maybe, and we talked about this last week, that it actually provides for the flexibility that you might need with that age group. But when they're young and they really aren't making their own decisions at all, and they really don't have an opinion because they don't really know Disney enough to know, what's what, park hopping can be a tough ask of 3, 4, 5, 6-year-olds, right?
I thought of something else.
And the older crowd. So
great point.
So I have traveled with my mother and my mother-in-law. Okay. Now there's an age difference between the two of them. Mm-hmm. Not terribly significant age difference, but like different enough that they are totally in different spots of like what they're going to be doing. Mm-hmm. Right. I would say that knowing the person you're traveling with and their ability to walk that much is a big part of it as well. Because just because I'm going to struggle to walk, that doesn't mean they're like scooter people, right? No. And so there are people who need a scooter, need an EV, and choose to use one. There are also people who need one and are too proud to use one. There's those people. And so you just have to know who you're traveling with, because there are certain groups that it's not a good idea to do park hopping with. But go ahead. You were about to.
Yeah, I mean, you had a good point. I didn't want to stop you there, but it reminded me, being teachers, we work with students all the time who are neurodivergent, who have autism, who have things like brain injuries, who have a difficult time with transitions and change, which I would like to build into this too, because you made me think of it. No. So, I have a relative of mine has a brain injury, and transitions are difficult for her. So if we are spending the entire day at Epcot, and then all of a sudden you want to park hop to another park, that could be difficult for some kids. Students, people in general, any age with autism, sometimes their focus for that day is going to be that one thing. And when you make a change or something's different, that can be difficult for people who have that, that condition.
It could be anything. Mm-hmm. It does, yes, neurodivergent, TBI, like all those things, but it could be somebody just doesn't like, hey, look, I want to focus on this.
Yes.
Right. This is what I want to do today. And that's cool. Yeah. Okay. Then park hopping's not for you. Know your group. Know what you're getting into with your group.
Yeah, I didn't think of that. And when you were talking about, kids and elderly, it's just know who you're with.
And health, right? Health is a big part of it.
Absolutely. Physical health, maybe maybe you're in good shape, but you have issues with your ankle or hip or something, and
Right. It could be anything that causes you to say, I don't think I can go because you're essentially buying in to the fact that I'm definitely doing stuff for 8 hours today, right? Because if you're staying in the parks for only 4 or 5 hours, park hopping's not going to happen anyway. But if you buy in and say, yeah, I'm park hopping, you're saying, I'm going to be doing stuff for about 8 hours in the parks, and your feet are going to hurt. Like it is what it is. I don't care how really nice the shoes are, or how super comfortable they are.
I thought you were going to make fun of me here.
Nope, I let it be.
I'm okay with it. I think it's funny, and it's.
I don't know if our new people, if we have new followers,
go ahead. Like I'm at the point where it's funny, and like, go ahead.
So
it's probably funnier coming from you.
I'm just saying that to our new followers. So Rob went to Disneyland and thought, well, it's smaller than Disney World.
Yeah.
And I want to look cool because I'm in LA, the land of the movie stars.
Fair.
So were they Air Force Ones?
No, those would be okay.
Or
those
the
are
AJ
good
ones?
for. They were Air Jordans. They were the Jordan
11s, maybe
4s or the Jordan 5s.
Either way, they're not made to be walking around a park.
No.
And
they're the big high top clunky. Well, they're like this.
They're
similar to this.
Yeah, similar
if you're watching us on YouTube. If you're not, please subscribe to us on YouTube. If you're not, you can see them right now.
Yeah, they're similar to the Bull Airs ones. And the fact that he thought that would be a good idea is just funny to me.
It was a lot of walking.
It was a lot of walking, a lot of blisters, and a brand new pair of shoes purchased.
But if you have Bull Airs, get the short horns to wear around the parks. Those would be perfect.
I think those would be.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm excited. I got some coming. Got a couple of pairs coming actually.
When they come, we can really go over that on the show. Yeah,
absolutely. But we're gonna head off to the halftime show here, brought to you by our Patreon patrons over at patreon.com/DizlessPod. Also, please follow us over on YouTube, youtube.com/@DizlessPod over there. And we're at DizlessPod, pretty much every social media platform you can find. Technically, we're on TikTok, even, but we weren't so upset when it went away because I was like, I don't do anything over on TikTok. So
very rarely.
I guess you could follow us over there too. But we're going to head off to the halftime show, and we'll see you right after this. Welcome back. Today on the Diz List, we're talking about our reasons why you might not want to park hop.
Yeah.
And so we left off, talking about knowing your group. Coming right out of the break, I've got another one that I think is really important, and it's knowing where you're staying, right? And being realistic. I alluded to it in the show opening that I'm more of a park hop person because staying DVC a lot of times that means where I'm staying is more convenient to the parks.
Yes.
When you're staying that conveniently to the parks, you kind of want to park hop more. It's, you get back to the resort, say you're staying at Bay Lake Tower, and you look out your window and you can see fireworks. I mean, come on. You want to you're like, I'm right there, but I can't go in. That would suck. So having the park hopper is something that we typically do. But if you're staying at the All-Star resorts, if you're staying at Animal Kingdom Lodge, if you're staying if you're staying over at like Wilderness Lodge or the campground, Fort Wilderness, the ability to get right to the parks isn't as good as it is at, say, Poly, Grand Floridian, Bay Lake, Boardwalk, Beach Club.
Here's another good one, Caribbean Beach. You hop right on the Skyliner, and you have instant access to Hollywood Studios and Epcot.
Yes.
That's a great spot.
Yeah, Riviera, Caribbean Beach. But if you're staying over at like the Springs resorts, so Saratoga Springs, if you're staying at Old Key West, if you're staying at Coronado, those aren't necessarily as convenient to do park hopping. So knowing where you stay is important.
Yeah.
Look on a map and be realistic with, is this something I want to do? Because there is not a bus that takes you from Magic Kingdom to Animal Kingdom. There's
No.
there. I mean now. Well, actually, I picked a really bad one. Magic Kingdom. Technically, you can go to the TTC and from the TTC get pretty much anywhere. But
Let's use Epcot bus loop.
Yeah.
Won't take you to Hollywood Studios.
Right. Yeah. But you know there are some interconnectivity, but not a ton. The other thing is if you're staying off property, park hopping becomes even less attractive, in my opinion, if you're staying off property.
Well, if you're park hopping and you are staying off property and you don't have a car, for example, that's going to be not only an additional cost for you. Yeah. So it'll be if you take an Uber or something like that, and more money for you, but that may come up later on. So I don't want to skip too much to that one yet.
No, but I just think knowing where you're staying and it depends on where you stay. I'm not saying that park hopping should only be for people on property and people for like at elite resorts nearby, the deluxe resorts. That is not what I'm saying at all.
No.
But I am saying that you're going to get less out of it staying in some resorts or off property than you do staying in those other ones. And so if you know that in advance, maybe just don't do it. Mm-hmm. Don't buy it. So what do you got for the next one here?
Well, it's a perfect transition because number 2 is we have that it's a time eater.
Yeah.
Okay. I use that term a lot for people eater. I'll use for a thing, but okay, let's use. You said this earlier, Magic Kingdom to Animal Kingdom. Those are the parks are the furthest apart. And you want to go from one to another. So you have your son or daughter, I want to go and do Avatar. I want to do Avatar. And you're at the Magic Kingdom. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Kid, here we go.
Yeah.
The hard part about that is they're really far away. And you stayed at Animal Kingdom Lodge, so you can attest to the fact that travel time is significant.
Yeah, I mean, to Magic Kingdom is definitely significant.
It is. And if you're using Disney transportation, it can always be, kind of a crapshoot. If you're going that far away and you're going all the way to Animal Kingdom Lodge, it's going to take some time. We said there isn't a direct bus that goes from one to another. There's other ways you can do it. You can go to the TTC and then from there you can go back. But the other really weird way you can always do this is go back to, you can go back. Oh no, you can't even do that anymore either. I was going to say you could go to Disney Springs.
Easiest way if
Disney Springs doesn't go to the parks, does it? No, it doesn't. And that's to eliminate parking issues.
Right. But you could very easily go hop on the resort monorail. So like if I really wanted to go to Animal Kingdom and I was at Magic Kingdom, I would personally hop on the resort monorail loop
and go to any of the 3 hotels.
I would check on the app because you can check on the apps about bus times. Mm-hmm. You see which, okay, it looks like it's coming at this time. You hop over to
Contemporary, Polynesian, or
Contemporary. I would walk. If I was going to go get a bus on the, I would probably walk to the Contemporary and hop on the bus there.
Yeah, I would too, depending on weather.
But but jumping on the monorail loop, going over, let's say
that's a good call.
Get off at the Poly, get a coffee, get something in that little right there off of the monorail. When you walk in, to the left side of you is Kona Island. You can get coffee, you can get sushi if it's in the afternoons, chocolate covered bacon.
Oh yeah, that was really good.
Yeah, hidden snack.
That's there. I thought that was downstairs.
No,
Maybe it's both.
They might have some downstairs in the thing, but they definitely have it at Kona Island. And then just go downstairs and wait at the bus loop there, and you'll be able to get one there. That's how I would do it if I was going to, but that's a lot of time.
It is, and that's the best way to do it, but still a lot. Right, a lot of time.
You're talking minimum 30 to 40 minutes.
Right, and we just used one specific instance. I mean, you could also do, how are you going to get to Epcot to Hollywood Studios? There's a good way. You can take the Skyliner, but the Skyliner, it doesn't just go A to B. Skyliner goes A to B to C to D to E to, and then over. Like it's not a direct route, so it still is going to take a little bit more time to do.
I just thought of another reason, and I'm going to add it in here.
Go for it.
With this one,
yeah,
because it's part of it. Being like park hopping requires more careful planning. Mm-hmm. You need to really know what's up. Like, you need to know that it makes sense if you're going to do park hopping to do Epcot and Hollywood Studios on a day, and then I guess Magic Kingdom and I don't know, like Magic. Animal Kingdom is kind of a weird situation. Everybody says Animal Kingdom is super far away. In reality, Magic Kingdom is the one that's far away from everything else. If you really look at a map, that's kind of the reality of it. But you need to be super planned, and so that's like when we talk about it takes up a lot of time. If you aren't a planner, like a really good planner, that could eat up not just a little bit of time, a significant part of the best part of your day. Because if you're transitioning from one park to another, that's in probably during prime time, right? Because you're not going to transition when the park is dying because it's closing.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense. So, yeah, I mean, the transportation is so unpredictable. The time eater that it is makes it difficult. So, yeah, I agree with you wholeheartedly.
And go back to your point, too, because both of them fit together perfect, because you're saying you have to be a planner, and it's a time eater.
Yeah.
If you don't plan it out and you don't know what you're doing, you have to ask somebody, or you go to the wrong bus stop and someone says, "Oh no, you need to go back to the monorail and zippity doo dah over to here," right? You know what I mean? So for that example,
what you did there.
But yeah, well, I'm trying. So back to my point, I got off a little bit from laughing there.
Yeah.
My point is that it's just going to eat so much time if you didn't plan ahead, and there's so many rules.
Yes.
And again, back to this, that was kind of the joke of last week in our little social media post, is rules are changing often too.
Yeah.
So we could tell you something to do right now, and we mean this, folks. If you're listening or watching, if we're telling you something right now, sure, you can believe it, but this stuff changes so much. So make sure you look up this stuff for yourself.
Well, like just little things, like as recently as a year ago, you weren't allowed to park hop until 2:00.
Yeah, right.
And then like now you throw in a monkey wrench of you've purchased Lightning Lane Multipass. There's specific rules about how you can book stuff at your second park.
I know.
So like the planning becomes so much more difficult. Now, am I super comfortable with how I would do it? Absolutely. I'm not saying I'm an expert, but I'm certainly more versed in Disney planning than your average Joe. If you're listening to this thinking, man, I really hope to go to Disney one time, and I'm listening to this podcast because I really enjoy the thought of going to Disney. I haven't gone yet. If that's you, you may want to skip out on the park hoppers the first time. Or
because of the complicated nature of it.
Find somebody who's really good at planning, a travel agent, okay? Or a family friend who's going with you maybe, or something like that.
Coworker, somebody.
Because it can be very difficult, that whole park hopping idea.
Yeah, we've had coworkers come to us and say, "Hey,
Frequently.
I'm looking to go to Disney," and fill in the next sentence where we want to go for 2 days or we want to go for a week. What's the best way to whatever? So look for somebody that can do that for you.
Yeah.
Now we can get to our number one, which is kind of the biggie for me. And our number one is going to be price, and that's a financial hit. So I have a good argument to start with, and you had a really good follow up. So I'll start, and then Nick will take over here.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
So
I'm not saying you're wrong.
my wife and I are looking into doing a trip for our anniversary in August. Mm-hmm. So I'm looking at all this information right now. So the current information as of January 2025, and again, these can always change. So if you're listening to this and saying, you said it was this price, just know that these change. So I looked up how much a regular ticket for Magic Kingdom would cost for a single day.
Yep.
And that currently is $169. Mm-hmm. If you look up how much the Park Hopper costs for that particular day, it's going to be $228.
Okay.
Now, to be clear, and correct me if I'm wrong.
That was for Magic Kingdom, $169?
Yeah.
Oh, you must have found a cheap day.
Yeah. $169, and then it's $228. But $228, it doesn't matter if it's Magic Kingdom or any park that you're starting at. It's the same price. Am I right about that? Because you're park hopping, so it doesn't matter if you start at Animal Kingdom and go to Magic Kingdom. That's just the price for that day.
Correct.
Even though Magic Kingdom price is different that individual day than the other parks. Is that right?
I don't know how that works.
Well, I'm going to look it up here while you're getting to the second part of it. But what I'm trying to say, and if I'm wrong, I'm going to look this up right now. There's individual prices for different parks on that day. So Magic Kingdom would be more expensive than Epcot.
Correct.
But the Park Hopper cost is one price for that particular day. That's what I'm trying to say.
You're 100% correct that it is about 1/3 again the cost.
Mm-hmm.
It's about it's 33% more than what a normal cost is. You are right on one day.
Mm-hmm.
However, and this is where you and I differ. It's $60 more for one day through Disney. I looked it up when I got here when you said that, because I was like, that doesn't sound right. 3 days through Undercover Tourist, which is just a third party that I usually use to buy my tickets. They're always running deals. Like right now, they're running we're not affiliated with them. They do have an affiliate program, but we're not one of them. They're running a deal right now that adult tickets for the same price as children's tickets. Okay, but 3-day ticket to jump from a 3-day regular base ticket to a 3-day park hopper ticket is a $76 difference for the 3 days. So now you're talking about around $25 a day to add the park hopping.
It's not bad.
Right. On a 7-day ticket, the difference is $68, under $10 a day to add it. That's why I'm a park hopper family, because we go longer times, right? We're going for 7 days. And if I'm going to go for 7 days for $10 more a ticket, now you are not wrong that it is a significant upcharge for those lower end, lower time span, right? Because even $75 extra for the 3-day, right? Family of 4, that's a significant chunk of money.
Yeah.
Right? You're not wrong. That's $300 extra. That's a lot. But if you're going for a week, or if you're going, to be staying somewhere where it makes sense, it may well be worthwhile for that $70 extra.
Yeah.
But I 100% agree. 1 day ticket.
Well, this is funny because we are now ending our episode with a full loop, because I ended number 1 with it's expensive, don't, and then you found this really interesting loophole that brought us back to I think you should, and here's why. And that's a good way to end. I really do. I think this is a great way to end the show, because there's all these little things that you don't even think about. This is plus, this is minus. So the moral of the story here, folks, is listen to both of these episodes. If you didn't listen to the first one, go back and listen to the first one, and you be the judge.
I mean, this is really these last 2 episodes, much like when we talked about the staying on property versus staying on property versus either way, when we do these episodes where we have a top 5 reasons why and a top 5 reasons not to, I'm going to be honest with you, like, I'm always on one of the teams, right? And the team that I'm on here is Team Park Hop, and Rob's on Team Don't Park Hop. That said,
but his reasons change,
right? But your reasons are solid reasons, and my reasons that I do it are also, I believe, solid. Which one of us do you identify with? Are you the person who says, really, for $10 more a day, I can guarantee that I can get into any park? Hell yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
If you're the person that says, $10 more a day is still $10 more a day at Disney, then cool, you're not wrong.
Yeah, that $10 could go towards a pin, or
Well, that $10 per day, you go out, right? If it's a 7-day ticket, right?
Yeah.
So $70, family of 4, $280. That's 2 meals.
Yeah.
Or one really nice sit down. I mean, you can go to Narcoossee's or Citrico's with a family of 4, depending on what you're eating and whether you're drinking or not. You can definitely get out of there for $280.
Yeah.
But so I'm just saying, you gotta weigh it. And I'm really excited for this one. I thought it was a lot more fun. I was a little worried because I really am Team Park Hop, but I was a little worried about what I could come up with. And I do think these are all solid reasons why you don't want to park hop.
For sure.
I didn't park hop this summer because I was staying at Animal Kingdom Lodge, which is in the middle of nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
So it didn't make sense to. Well, that's a lot of fun.
And when we did our trip together, I think we had park hop every day, and we loved that flexibility because we went where the wind blew us. we went back to our hotel, and we were like, and then we would split up. And I remember like my daughter went with you, and then I took a small crew and we went over to Epcot. Like it was just fun to have that flexibility.
Well, when you're staying across the lake from Magic Kingdom,
And you have the
You look out-
monorail that can take you to
and you look out and
either
you see the
place.
castle. It's like it's almost unfair not to be able to just go there. So that's kind of why I feel that way. But guys, it's been a lot of fun. Really has been. Go ahead and check us out over on YouTube. We're gonna be doing some giveaways soon, so make sure you're liking and subscribing because there's gonna be a subscriber giveaway soon. We'll have some more details on that in our next episode, as well as on our social media. So follow us over on Instagram at DizlessPod. But it's a great, big, beautiful tomorrow, and tomorrow's just a list away.
Tune in next time, and we'll see you real soon.